Hi there lovely people, this is a wrap-up review for the Manzano jacket. You'll see that I did succumb to giving up the aesthetics for the sake of practicality and put these two patch pockets on the front. I just love a pocket, and really you can't wear a jacket like this and slouch insouciantly unless you can put your hands in your pockets. It just doesn't look right. So to facilitate the insouciant slouch, we have the pockets. Now I'm going to demonstrate a little bit of this printing that I did on the front bands here. I also used a piece of that printed textile on the inside of the jacket there because I didn't have enough of this green printed textile to run the full length of that lining inside of there, so I've used a piece on there. Let me put that aside while I should cover up that. It's a bit distracting, isn't it, people? I just scribble stuff on any available surface. Okay, so these are the two stencils I've used. This spiral dotty one is cut from a very soft yoga mat and stuck onto this piece of cardboard. I call that a pressure plate, and I'll demonstrate how I make marks from that pressure plate. The other print is this more conventional rubber stamp that I've cut into this simple sort of rainbow shapes, and I use them in similar ways but also slightly different. So I'm going to initially demonstrate to you on the Manzano jacket itself, because when I reviewed this jacket I felt that this area on the sleeve is quite bright, quite stark, and it doesn't kind of tie in with the amount of printing on the rest of the fabrics. So I don't hesitate to print on finished garments if I wish to, you know, put more print on it. I just go right ahead and put things on the finished garment. So initially I'm going to demonstrate this rainbow shape print on the jacket. I'll do it in blue. I only need a tiny amount of paint because I'm just going to do probably 2 prints. Okay, so I'm loading up my rubber roller there, and there we go. I'm going to put the paint onto the stamp with the roller, and then onto the textile. Press it down. Sometimes I might use one of these kind of rollers, speed ball. There we go. Print. Now that's not a pretty subtle print. I could have applied more heavy paint on there, so just to show you that if I had put more paint on the stamp I would have got a more opaque print. It just depends on the amount of ink I apply to the surface. So I'm going to pop that over there, move that around a little to the new position, inking stamp again, Here we go. Press. Lift. Another print. Okay, so now I'm happy that that sleeve has got a bit more pattern on it to break it up a bit more, because it was too much of a stark open space for me. Now I'm going to put that Manzano aside. I'll heat set that later on when the paint's dry, and go on with a little bit more printing here to give you an idea. Okay, I should have showed you this too. There's a small off-cut scrap of that textile that I used on the bands with this print on it. Now I'm going to make another Manzano jacket, really having enjoyed that design, and this lovely fabulous upholstery cotton is the fabric that's inspiring me. I'm flickering again because the processor on my poor little computer is having a hard time consuming all this information. So the colours I'm going to use in my next coat are going to be this red and beige. I'll put that away and hopefully the little processor will be able to calm down. Okay, so here we go. I'll just print this section here, this piece of beige sheeting, to give you an example of what's going to happen. I've just got to go and clean the paint off that roller. I'll be back in about 10 seconds. Otherwise, of course, if I roll this into the red paint, I'm going to get purple prints, and I'm trying to get the excess water out of there by doing that. Okay, let's get some red out and do some prints. Oh dear, this paint's very dried out. But it's still quite usable. Now, because I haven't used the spiral, I'll show you how I do that, which is exactly the same process as with the stamp. I'm just rolling paint onto the surface there. Now I'm going to just, because that paint's a little dry, I'm going to facilitate it bonding to the fabric better with a bit of dampness on there. Sorry, I'm going off screen. Yep, here we go. Just pressing it down with my hands. Ta-da! Yo, okay, not a really great print, I have to acknowledge. So I'm just going to wet it a little more because the paint is too thick and too dried out. So spraying on there means it's going to absorb into the textile a bit more and spread out a bit more. Okay. Not real thrilled with those prints. It's the paint that's frankly being the problem. Here we go on the rubber stamp. That's better. Yep, going good. Now that I'm getting this red paint a little more watery in consistency, perhaps I'll get a print out of the spiral that I like better. Yep, that's happening better now. So there you go. You've learned a thing or two about having paint not too dried out as well. So I'm going to continue printing away on some of these textiles here, and you'll get to see the results when I plunge into this new version of the Manzano jacket.